Welcome to the Complete Movement Method free class. Thank you for being here with me today. Let's find our way to a nice, comfortable seat. And before we begin, I want you to just take a moment and feel into how you're feeling right now, in this moment, mentally, physically, emotionally. And if you could rank how you're feeling right now on a scale from 1 to 10, if you could put into the chat a number for how you're feeling right now. I'm just super curious to see. Okay, I see Deborah's giving me an 8. Okay, that's lovely. I'm very happy for you, Deborah. That's amazing. 8 is great. If anyone else wants to put a number in, that'd be great. Sandra says a 4. Okay, so we'll see how you feel afterwards. Yeah, and Mark 6.5. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we got a full spectrum. So one of the things that I love about movement, or why I think having a movement practice is so important, it's not only so that we keep our joints healthy and strong, so we're able to move through life with ease, so that we maintain our ranges of motion, so that we're pain-free, although all of those things are really great and part of what I do. I want all of us to be pain-free and to be moving really well until the very end of our lives, hopefully many, many years to come. And part of why I think this practice is so important on a physical level is because the body is such a powerful tool for accessing the mind and for moving energy through us. And so it's a very common human experience. I certainly have this experience on a daily basis. I hope I'm not the only one, where we can get stuck in patterns of thought, or certain thoughts repeat themselves again and again, or we have a train of thinking that's just not helpful for us in the moment. And sometimes when that happens, we can use our mindfulness to kind of talk ourselves back, or I use the phrase to talk ourselves off the cliff. Yeah, like if we're having some sort of unhelpful train of thought that's heading towards a potentially very destructive place, sometimes we can talk ourselves back, and sometimes we can't. And in those moments when we can't talk ourselves back, then movement becomes so critical. When we can move energy through our bodies, often we can shift how we're feeling. And so movement is this really powerful tool to take us from a potentially negative or even potentially destructive state back through neutral into a more positive state. And when you have a practice of movement, you have something to go to lean on, to help you do that. And for me, this is critical in my life, so that we leave this practice feeling both grounded and expanded at the same time. All right, so with this in mind, let's go ahead and soften the gaze or close the eyes, coming to the front edge of your sitting bones, lengthening up through the crown of your head, and feeling the parts of your body here in contact with the floor. And just noticing, even here when we sit in stillness, there's subtle movement in the body. There's the movement of the rib cage as you inhale and exhale. There might be some gentle engagement in the muscles, in the legs, or through the core, stabilizing your body, keeping your body upright. And centering your awareness on sensation in the body. Another reason why the movement practice is so helpful is because it makes us feel things physically. And the feeling, the sensation that comes up in our bodies as we move only exists in the present moment. And so if we can ground ourselves in our physical bodies, feel sensation in this moment, coming back into the present, then we will create a much deeper connection within ourselves. And from that place of connection inwards, have a much greater capacity to be of service out in the world. So that our practice becomes a gift we give ourselves and the world together at the same time. Let's go ahead and bring our hands together in front of our hearts. And we'll take here a single Om all together. Inhaling through the nose. Exhale for nothing. Inhaling for Om. And exhaling, releasing your hands, softening the muscles of your face and your forehead as you let your eyes open. And we're going to stay seated here. So just stay where you are. I'm just going to change my camera angle. But I want you to change the crossing of your legs. So uncross your legs and then recross them the opposite way. That feels a little awkward. I just realized that was the way they were already crossed for me. And then come to that front edge of the sitting bones again. So make sure you're able to tip the pelvis forward slightly. If it's feeling difficult to tip the pelvis forward slightly, then I recommend sitting up on more height. Sometimes you need a block, a bolster, but get to that place where you can come to the front edge of the sitting bones. And then we're going to lengthen the arms out to the sides, reaching out, creating expansion across the front and back of the body. And then we'll rotate the palms to face up. We're going to reach the arms up and over the head. Interlock your fingers and then press the palms of the hands up towards the ceiling. Reaching up, lengthening the sides of the waist. And then we'll release the interlock of the fingers, keep the arms lifted. And then we're going to take a side bend up and over to the right. Now you can push your right hand down into the floor to keep your left sitting bone heavy. So we're really creating this expansion on that left side of the waist. Good. And then at the end of your next exhalation, we're going to spiral it out on a bit of a diagonal, like we're reaching that left shoulder and left hip away from each other. And then let's come back into the side bend. And then from here, you're going to push your hand down into the floor and spiral your breastbone open towards the ceiling and reach that arm back behind you. And there might be a bit of a sensation into the chest or armpit. Just breathe there. And then we'll come back into the side bend. And then we're going to, on the inhale, let the arm lead us. The torso will follow and we'll just come back upright to sitting. And then soften your gaze or close your eyes for a moment. And just notice how the two sides of your back feel, left and right. Is there a difference there? And then opening the eyes if they're closed, we'll reach the arms out to the sides again. And now this time you're going to exhale, roll backwards towards your sacrum, rounding your spine. Let your head, your chin tuck towards your chest. Bring your arms in like you're hugging a beach ball. And then on the inhalation, we'll roll forwards, dropping the pubic bone towards the floor, coming to the front edge of the sitting bones again, and then lifting the chest, lifting the gaze. So we're arching a little bit here into the spine. And then one more time, we'll exhale and scoop it in, roll it back, tuck the chin slightly towards the chest, and then inhale, come back forwards. One more time, arching, opening the collarbones, lift the breastbone. And then we'll come back to center and release. Okay, other side. Take the arms out to the sides. Rotate the palms to face up. Reach the arms up and over the head. Interlock the fingers the opposite way if you can. Press the palms of the hands up towards the ceiling. Reach up. Lift up through the sides of the waist. And then release the interlock the fingers. And we'll side bend up and over to the left. Pressing the left hand down into the floor and feeling that expansion now into the right side of the rib cage. Press the left hand down to help keep the right sitting bone heavy. Notice how that feels there. And then on the end of your exhalation, we're going to spiral it out on that diagonal so that the right shoulder and the right hip move a little bit away from each other. And then we'll inhale, come back towards the side bend. Pausing there, and then on the next inhalation, pressing the left hand down into the floor, spiraling the breastbone open towards the ceiling a little bit and reaching that arm back behind you. And then let's come back into the side bend. And then we're going to inhale, arm moves first, torso follows. We come back upright. You can soften your gaze, close your eyes. And then again, see if you can just notice the left and the right sides of the spine and the back body, and how does it feel for you? And then we'll blink the eyes open, take the arms out to the sides. And then again, we're going to roll back towards the sacrum, rounding the spine, tucking the chin towards the chest. And then inhale, rolling forwards to the front edge of the sitting bones, lifting the breastbone, lifting the gaze. And then on the exhale, rounding it back, hugging your beach ball. And inhale, rounding it forwards, lifting the breastbone, lifting the gaze. And then we'll come back to center and release the arms. All right, we're going to make our way onto our backs. So go ahead, come and lie down on your back. Plant your feet on the floor. So bend your knees, plant your feet on the floor about as wide as your mat. So feet are open nice and wide. Arms can either be out to the sides or over the head into a cactus shape. And we'll just windshield wiper the legs left to right. So this movement is meant to be pretty easy. You're not forcing anything. You're letting gravity really do most of the work for you. We just want to move the hip through this range of motion. We want to do it several times so that as we do it, we warm up the joint. The movement becomes a little bit smoother, so that it has this sensation of ease to it. And then let's come back to center, bringing your feet now to hip distance apart. You can take your hands down by your hips, and then we're going to pull the pubic bone up towards the belly button, pressing the lower back down into the floor. And then sending the pubic bone through the legs, arching into the lower back. And we'll do that a few times. Pull the pubic bone up, pressing the lower back down. And then sending the pubic bone through the legs, arching into the lower back. And we'll do that a few more times. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then the next time you pull the pubic bone up and press the lower back down, we're going to stay there. Inhale here. At the end of the exhalation, I want you to engage pelvic floor and deep abdominals. And then we're going to float one leg towards a tabletop position and pause. Float the second leg towards a tabletop position and pause. Press the lower back down into the floor. We really want to try to maintain that pressure of the lower back pressing down. Now you can either leave your hands down by your sides, or you could lift your arms up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to exhale, lowering either one leg or one leg in the opposite arm, and inhale to lift. And exhale, lowering other leg in the opposite arm, and inhale to lift. Now really try to press your lower back down into the floor and minimize any shifting in the pelvis left to right. So the only thing that's moving are the moving arm and leg. The rest of the body is staying perfectly still. You could always make the movements smaller. You could keep the knee bent, or you could straighten the leg as you do it. Press the lower back down into the floor. Let's do one more on either side. Good. All right, and then come back to center. We'll release the arms. You can release the legs one at a time. Open the feet nice and wide, and we'll windshield wiper again a few times left to right. Coming back to center, feet hip distance apart. Let's hug now our right leg in towards our chest. And then we're going to straighten the left leg out along the floor. Flex the left ankle and press the left thigh down into the floor. You might notice there's some sensation there at the front of the left hip. Take a couple breaths there. So the left leg is active, pressing it down into the floor. And then we're going to interlock the hands behind the right thigh, keeping the left leg nice and strong. I want you to straighten your right leg up towards the ceiling and point the right toes. And then we're going to bend the right knee and flex the ankle. And we're going to straighten and point and bend and flex, and straighten and point and bend and flex. Now you can keep the hands where they are here, interlocked behind the leg, or you could take the hands down to the floor. Keep moving the right leg through this range of motion. Straighten and point, bend and flex. Straighten and point, bend and flex. Try to get the leg as straight as you can, and then the knee as bent as you can, pointing the toes as much as you can, and then flexing as much as you can. And then let's do it a little faster. Pick up the pace. Straighten and point, bend and flex. And now we're going to change the movement at the ankle. So we're going to straighten and flex, bend and point. Straighten and flex, bend and point. And then see if you can do that a little faster. Straighten and flex, bend and point. Straighten and flex, bend and point. Okay, couple more, two more. Last two here. Last one. And straighten that right leg out on the floor and release. Letting go of any effort in the body. See if you can drop your awareness into that right hip. What is the sensation that's there for you? Is it heaviness, a length, a heat? Just be in that sensation in the hip or the thigh, whatever it is right now. And then we're going to hug the left leg in towards the chest. So you can start by either holding the back of the thigh or the front of the shin. Either one is fine. Flex your right ankle, press your right thigh down towards the floor. Taking a couple breaths there, maybe noticing if there's sensation at the front of that right hip. And then we're going to interlock the hands behind the left thigh if they're not already there. Straighten the left leg and point the toes. And then bend the knee and flex the ankle. And straighten and point and bend and flex. And straighten and point and bend and flex. And we're going to do that several times, either leaving the hands where they are or taking the hands down to the floor on either side of your body. Straighten and point, bend and flex, making the leg as straight as you can. and as bent as you can. The leg does not need to be vertical. So you could have the leg a little further away from the torso, but getting it straighter, that's totally fine. Let's try to pick up the pace a little bit, a little faster now. Straighten and point, bend and flex, straighten and point, bend and flex. Breathing in and out through the nose. Okay, now changing the movement at the ankle. Straighten and flex, bend and point, straighten and flex, bend and point. Work through that range of motion. Straighten and flex, bend and point, straighten and flex, bend and point. Keep going, a few more. A little bit faster if you can. Straighten and flex, bend and point. Last two, last one, and relax, release. Good. Drop your awareness into that left hip, left thigh. What sensation is there for you right now? Breathing into it. All right. Now we're going to roll over onto one side. Doesn't matter what side, whatever side feels more natural for you. Rolling over onto one side. Your head can either rest on your arm or you could prop your head up on your hand. You're going to bend your knees in towards your chest. I want you to just check that you have a neutral spine, so a bit of an arch here at the lower back. We're going to roll this top hip slightly forwards. And then exhale, engaging pelvic floor, deep abdominals. Maybe the feet lift off the floor, maybe not, up to you. And then we're going to lift the knee up and down. So we're just finding this external rotation of the thigh bone and the hip socket. So the feet stay together and the knee opens. And we're keeping the pelvis still. So the pelvis doesn't move as we rotate the thigh bone. Keep going. Waking up our upper outer glutes. So our glute muscles, our butt muscles are really important for supporting our lower backs. They're also really important for our balance. So spending some time activating these muscles will actually improve your balance. Let's do two more like this. Last two. Keep the knee lifted and then lift the foot up above the knee. And then we're going to go knee down, heel down, knee down, heel down. Now you're rotating the thigh bone in and out in the hip socket. So again, it's a movement of the thigh bone in the hip socket. The pelvis isn't moving. Okay, last two here. Last one. And release. Good. Pat it out. And then let's interlock the hands behind the head. And we're going to keep the knees and the hips in one spot. So the knees and the hips don't move. We're going to inhale, rotate, open towards the ceiling, and exhale to close. And inhale to open, and exhale to close. And we'll work through this several times. Breathing in and out through the nose. Hips and knees are still in one spot so that we're focusing this rotation through the thoracic spine, the part of our spine that articulates with our rib cage. It's the part of our spine that gets the stickiest or that tends to move the least, largely because there are so many extra joints in this part of the spine because of the rib cage. Let's keep going. And when we work on mobilizing a joint, meaning we want to improve how the joint moves, we need to move it through a range of motion several times. So you can't just do it once. You got to do it a couple times or several times. And so notice now, how does it feel in your body, this movement? Is it smoother? Maybe you can move a little further than when you first started. This is one of my favorite spinal mobilization exercises, is this twisting. Okay, last one. Come back to center, and then let's roll over to the other side. So bending the knees in, stack the knees, stack the hips. Head can either be resting on the arm or propped up on the hand. Neutral spine, so gentle arch in the lower back. Roll this top hip slightly forwards. Exhale, engaging pelvic floor, deep abdominals. Hand can stay here on the hip. Lift the feet or not, your choice. I like feet lifted because it helps me activate that muscle better, but a lot of people find it's actually better for them to keep the feet down. And then the knee lifts and lowers. The feet stay together, and we find this external rotation of the thigh bone in the hip socket. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just the thigh bone rotates, no movement in the pelvis. That's it. Keep going. All right. Let's do 3 more like this. Last one. And then keep the knee lifted. We'll lift the foot up above the knee. We'll go knee down, heel down. Knee down, heel down. Finding that rotation of the thigh bone in the hip socket. In and out, and in and out. Keeping the pelvis still. Rotating the thigh bone. Oh, my glutes are starting to burn a little bit. Last 2. Last 1. And relax and release. Pat it out. And then let's interlock the hands behind the head again. Maybe the knees come a little closer to the chest if you'd like. And then we inhale and rotate open towards the ceiling and exhale to close. Hips and knees stay still in one spot, and we just rotate through the thoracic spine. Breathing there. Notice how it feels. Okay, we've just started. You've done this a few times. Now we've worked through this range of motion a few times, but notice how the movement is right now. Maybe there's a little bit of a restriction there. Maybe it feels a bit sticky. See if you can notice that. How is it right now? And then just keep going. Breathing. Good. Keep going. A few more here. Maybe starting to notice if there's been any change in how it feels. For me, the movement started to get a little bit smoother, and I'm noticing that I'm able to move a little bit further through the range. So I have a slightly bigger movement now. Good. And then we'll do 2 more, last 2 here. And last one. Coming back to center, and then we'll slowly start to make our way up onto our hands and our knees. So coming up onto all 4s. If you'd like to use your blanket for a little extra cushioning under your knees, please feel free to have your blanket there under your knees. And then we'll come onto all 4s and we'll start to work through some cat and cow. So see if you can start the movement from your pubic bone, pulling it up towards the belly button, rounding into the lower, into the mid, into the upper back, releasing the head. And then sending the pubic bone through the legs, arching into the lower, into the mid, into the upper back. Head lifts last. And we'll work through that a couple more times, nice and slow and controlled, noticing how the 2 sides of the spine feel as you do this. All right, last one. And then let's come back towards a neutral spine. So gentle arch in the lower back. And then we're going to exhale, tuck just the tail. So it's a rounding, but just into the lower back. Inhale here. And then on the exhale, we're going to hinge about half the way back into what we call an angry cat. So it's a slightly rounded spine with the hips about half the way down towards the heels. Inhale there as if you could really stretch out the tissues of your lower back with your breath. And then on the exhalation, we're going to lift the tailbone towards the ceiling and hinge forwards. And then exhale, tuck. Inhale to stay. Exhale to hinge back towards the heels. Inhale to stay. And then lifting the tailbone towards the ceiling and hinging forwards. Keep going with that. We're going to do a few more like this. Moving on the exhalation and pausing on the inhalation. Hinging back with the lower back slightly rounded and hinging forwards with the lower back in neutral or slightly arched. Last one. And then we'll come back to center and stay. So we're back on all fours with a neutral spine. We're going to push the floor away, puff up the space between the shoulder blades, and then squeeze the shoulder blades together and puff it up and squeeze together. And we'll just work through that a few times. Feeling the shoulder blades moving on the back of the rib cage to the best of our ability. And then pausing somewhere in the middle, we'll take the shoulder blades towards the ears and away from the ears, into the ears and away from the ears. And then pausing somewhere in the middle, we're going to try to make circles. So we're going to puff up the space between the shoulder blades, take the shoulder blades to the ears, squeeze the shoulder blades together and circle down away from the ears. Puff it up to the ears, squeeze it together, circle down and away from the ears. Two more like that. Last one. And then we're going to try to reverse it. So puff it up, shoulder blades away from the ears, squeeze together, shoulder blades to the ears. Puff it up, away from the ears, squeeze it together towards the ears. Two more like this. Good, and last one. And then we're going to pause somewhere in the middle and stay. Okay. Inhale here. Exhale, we're going to come into a deep cat. Round your spine. Tuck your toes under. Push the hands into the floor. Press out into the fingertips. Lift the knees and the hips up. And then send your hips and your knees up and back. Lift your heels so you're high up on your toes. Press the hands into the floor. So we're in our first downward facing dog. Press the hands into the floor, send the chest towards the thighs, lift the heels high, and then we're going to slowly lengthen the inner heels towards the floor, faster than the outer heels. So taking the feet into a slight pigeon-toed shape. The heels do not need to reach the floor. They're just moving in that direction. Pausing there. And then you can go ahead, bend your left knee. Maybe the right heel drops a little closer to the floor. Pause and take a breath there as if you could breathe into the back of the leg. And then we'll switch sides. Pause and breathe as if you could breathe into the back of the left. And then one more time, right leg. And one more time, left leg. And then lifting both the heels up high. We're going to bend the knees, look towards the hands, step or walk the feet forwards, bringing the feet to about hip distance apart. Inhale, peel the chest open, neutral spine. And exhale, folding over the thighs. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Arms lift, chest lifts, lengthen, look up. And exhale, bringing the hands down through center. We're going to pause here in our Samastitihi, equal standing pose. Hands can stay in prayer. They could rest on the chest or the belly. You're going to soften your gaze or close your eyes. And see if you can drop your awareness into the soles of your feet. And just feel the soles of your feet on the floor. How does it feel in your body to be here, standing here right now? The only time is here. The only time is now. The only place is here. Breathing into that. And then we'll slowly release the arms down by the sides. Inhale, let's float the arms up and over the head. We're going to hold the left wrist with the right hand. Lift that whole arm up. Push down into the left heel, left side of the foot, or left foot. And then we're going to side bend up and over to the right. Keep that right side of the waist long, even though we're shortening it. We're not collapsing. We're staying lifted. And then we'll release that right hand. Take the right hand down by the hip. Good. Now on your exhale, we're going to spiral it out on a bit of a diagonal. So the left shoulder and the left hip move away from each other. Pause there and inhale. And then push down through the heel, engage through the core, come back into the side bend. And then on the inhalation, we're going to spiral the breastbone open towards the ceiling and reach that left arm a little bit back behind us. Coming back through center. And then use the inhalation. The arm's going to move first, the torso is going to follow, and you're going to come back to upright standing. And then in this position, you can soften your gaze or close your eyes again for a moment and just notice how that feels there. How do the left and the right sides of the spine feel compared to each other? And then blinking the eyes open if they're closed, we'll inhale again, lift the arms up and over the head. And this time holding the right wrist with the left hand, press down through the right foot as we side bend up and over to the left. Good. Keeping that left side of the waist long, so making sure you're not collapsing that left side of the waist. And then we'll release the left arm, take it down by your side. Inhale here. Exhale, spiral it out on a bit of a diagonal so that left shoulder and left hip seem to be moving a little bit away from each other. Pause there, inhaling. Exhaling, come back into the side bend. And then on the inhalation, we'll spiral it open towards the ceiling. Lift the breastbone any amount, reach that arm back behind you. And then we'll come back into the side bend. Now we're going to use the inhalation to come out of it. The arm leads, the torso follows, and we come back upright, softening the gaze or closing the eyes again, and dropping the awareness into the muscles that line our spine. What is the sensation that's most predominant for you there? And then we'll let the eyes blink open. And we'll come back to Samastitihi at the front of the mat. Now you might want to have a block close by if you have one. All right, so in this position, we're going to inhale, float the arms up. We're going to exhale, hinge and fold over the thighs. Inhale, lengthen the spine, find a neutral spine, gentle arch in the lower back. Exhale, we're going to step the left foot back, come down onto the left knee, point the left toes, inhale, and sweep the arms up. Now trying to drag the left hip forwards, draw the belly back, looking for some sensation in the front of that left hip. And then lifting up through that left wrist, we'll take it over a bit to the right. Keep sending the left hip forwards and drawing the belly back. And then inhale, come back upright, release the left wrist, lift both arms up. On the exhalation, we're going to zip in through the abdominals and twist to the right. And then inhale, come back to center. And exhale to twist. And inhale to come back to center. And one more time, exhale to twist, taking the left hand to the outside of the right knee. Bend your right elbow. Push your left hand into your right knee and deepen the twist on an inhale. And then exhale to release. So you use leverage here. Inhale to deepen the twist and exhale to release. One more time. Inhale to deepen the twist and exhale to release. Take the hands down by the sides. We're going to inhale, float the arms back up. And then on an exhale, we're going to take a side bend up and over to the left. Now I'm taking a block underneath my left hand. Take that right arm up and over. I'm just going to turn around to mirror you here. So we're here. So this left hand could be on the floor or a block. Either is fine. And then on the next exhalation, we're going to spiral it out on that diagonal again, moving that right shoulder and right hip away from each other. And then we'll come back into the side bend on the inhale or on the exhale. On the inhale, spiral it open towards the ceiling. Reach that arm back behind you. And then we'll come back into the side bend. And then we'll use the inhalation. Arm moves first, torso follows. Sweep the arms. Ooh, keep your balance. Sweep the arms up. And then exhale, you can take the hands down to either side of that right foot on the floor or the blocks. Let's tuck the left toes under, straighten out that left leg. And then I want you to take some bounces into this front knee, creating a spring-like sensation here. And then we're going to use that spring to step us back to downward dog. Lift the heels up high. Sending the chest towards the thighs, slowly lengthen the inner heel towards the floor. See if you can notice how the two sides of the spine feel here. And then we're going to take the knees to the floor and come onto all fours. Your hands can be on the floor of the blocks, doesn't matter. Inhale here. Exhale, tuck the tail. Inhale, stay. Exhale, hinging half the way back into that angry cat. Inhale to stay. And then exhale, we're going to roll up the spine one vertebrae at a time, coming all the way up into a high kneeling position. Take the hands to the front of the hips. And then we're going to inhale, hinge back with a neutral spine. And exhale, tuck the tail, roll up the back one vertebrae at a time. Head lifts last. Inhaling, hinging back, neutral spine. Exhale, tuck the tail and roll it up one vertebrae at a time. Head lifts last. Two more like this. Inhale, hinge. Exhale, tuck and roll. And last time, inhale, hinge. Exhale, tuck and roll. And we'll come back up all the way. Good. Taking your hands to the floor, you can put your blocks to the side for a moment. Hands a little wider than the shoulders, a little turned in. Come into a nice deep cat. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up and back, coming to downward facing dog. Press the hands into the floor. Let's lift the right leg up and back, coming into a three-legged dog. And then bending that right knee into the chest, we're going to circle the right hip a couple times in either direction. Big full circles. And then switching directions. And then stepping that right foot forwards through the hands. You can always come down onto the left knee or use the right hand to pick up the foot and take it all the way forwards. And we're going to bend the left knee, step the left foot forwards to meet the right. Inhale to lengthen neutral spine and exhale to fold over the thighs. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing. Arms lift, chest lifts, lengthen, look up. And right away, we're going to hinge and fold over the legs. Inhale, neutral spine. Exhale, stepping the right foot back. Keep the left foot forwards. Come down onto the right knee. Point the right toes. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Dragging the right hip forwards. Draw the belly back. Looking for sensation at the front of that right hip. Holding the right wrist, lift it up, take it over to the left. Breathing there. Inhale, come back to center. Release the wrist, lift the arms. Inhaling. Exhaling, zipping in through the abdominals, twisting to the left. Inhale as you come back to center. Exhale to twist. Inhale to come back to center. One more time. Exhale, twist and stay, taking the right palm to the outside of the left knee, bending the left elbow. Inhale, creating leverage to deepen the twist, and exhaling to release. Inhale to deepen the twist, and exhale to release. And one more. Inhale to deepen the twist, and exhale to release, hands by the sides. Inhale, float the arms up. And then exhale, side bending up and over to the right. So taking the right hand to the floor or the block, your choice. I'm going to turn around to mirror you. And then on the exhalation, like you're pulling a hood up and over your head, spiraling it out on a diagonal, taking that left shoulder and left hip away from each other. Pause there, inhale. Exhale, coming back into the side bend. And then on the inhale, pushing the hand into the floor of the block, lift the breastbone to the ceiling, reach that arm back behind you. And then we'll come back into the side bend. We're going to use the inhalation, arm leads, torso follows. Inhale and sweep both arms up and over the head. Exhale, taking the hands down to the floor or the blocks on either side of that front foot, tucking the right toes under, straightening out the right leg, and taking those few bounces into that left knee. And then we use that spring we're creating to step back to downward dog. Lift the heels high, send the chest to the thighs, lengthen the inner heel slowly towards the floor. And then we'll take both knees down to the floor, untuck the toes. Exhale, tuck the tail. Inhale to stay. Exhale to hinge back towards the heels. Inhale to stay. And then exhale, slowly rolling up the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Head lifts last. Keep the hands down by the hips. We're going to inhale, hinge with a neutral spine. And then exhale, tuck the tailbone. Roll up the back, one vertebrae at a time. Arms are going to sweep up and over the head. When you get to the top, inhale, lift the breastbone, lift the gaze, and the hips forward slightly, so a bit of a back bend here. And then exhale to release. Inhale, hinge with a neutral spine. Exhale to tuck and roll. Inhaling at the top, lift the breastbone, lift the gaze. And exhale to release. One more. Inhale to hinge. Exhale to tuck and roll. Arms sweeping up and over the head. Inhaling at the top, W arms, lift the breastbone, lift the gaze. And exhale to release. Taking the hands back down to the floor, making your way back into downward facing dog. Lifting the left leg up and back, three-legged dog. Bending the left knee in towards the chest, circle the left hip a couple times in either direction, big full circles. And then switching directions. And then stepping that left foot forwards through the hands. Step the right foot forwards to meet it. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing, arms lift, chest lifts, lengthen and look up. And exhaling, bringing the hands together through center, pausing here in Samastitihi. Hands can stay in prayer, rest on the chest or the belly. Softening the gaze, maybe closing the eyes. Feeling the feet on the floor. Feeling the movement of your rib cage in this moment, right here, right now. What is present for you right now? And then when you're ready, you can release the arms, open the eyes. Inhale, we'll float the arms up. We'll exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale. neutral spine. Exhale, stepping back, downward facing dog. You can move your blanket off to the side if it's still there on your mat. And then we'll bend the knees, look to the hands, and step or walk through to sitting. We'll extend the legs out in front of us. You can give the legs a little rock in and out. And then we're going to set up for our shavasana. So grab your blanket, have that to support under your head. If you have another blanket to cover yourself with, I highly recommend having warmth. If you have something to cover your eyes, grab something to cover your eyes. You're going to prop, if you have a bolster for under your knees, you can position it under your knees. I like to position my bolster. I prop it up on my blocks like this so that it supports right under my knees. If you only have some cushions under your knees, that's totally fine. But having something under the knees is really nice. And then we'll tuck the tail under. We'll slowly make our way down onto our back, positioning your blanket for under your head. And then bring your feet flat on the bolster or cushion or floor. Hug your knees into your chest and just give yourself a little rock side to side. And letting the breath flow easily in the body. And starting to soften the gaze or close the eyes, letting go, letting the body start to become heavy. When you're ready, you can release the legs, let them come over the bolster, take the arms out to the sides, and let everything go here. Exhale, side out. And again, inhale through the nose. Exhale, side out, letting go. Let the body be heavy, releasing into the floor. I'm going to take you through a short body scan, and then I'll leave you in silence for a couple minutes. We'll begin with the right hand thumb. I'm going to name a body part. You're going to simultaneously bring your awareness to that body part, naming it to yourself mentally. Right hand thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, shoulder blade, chest, waist, hip, thigh, kneecap, calf muscle, ankle, heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Left hand thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger. Palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, shoulder blade, left chest, waist, hip, thigh, kneecap, calf muscle, ankle, heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Whole of the right arm, whole of the left arm, both arms together. Whole of the right leg, whole of the left leg, both legs together. Whole of the front body, whole of the back body. the head, arms, legs, front, back, the head, together. The whole body together. The whole body together. The whole body together. And bringing deeper breaths into the body. And drawing the awareness up and out. And starting to move the hands and the feet a little bit. You can bring one foot at a time to rest on your cushion, your bolster, the floor. Press your lower back down into the floor. Stretch the arms up and over the head. And then we'll slowly roll to one side, curling up into fetal position. Pressing the hands down into the floor, and slowly, when you're ready, coming back up to sitting. And pausing there for a couple moments. And from here, we'll gently blink the eyes open. And come back to the computer screen for a moment. So I'd love to see in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10 how you're feeling now. Great. So something shifted. It's good. So thank you for sharing your practice with me today. We'll take a moment and just send the benefits of our practice out to all the beings in the world, and know that when we take this time to feed ourselves, this is a gift we give ourselves in the world together at the same time. So if you enjoyed this practice and you want to do more of this kind of work, feeling the body, using movement to help us feel more grounded, more present, more alive, then I invite you. I have a really special offer, the Complete Movement Method course. The registration is opening today. So I'm going to paste the link for that in the chat. And then you can head on over there and register right now if you'd like. If you have any questions about it, you can always reach out to me. And I hope we can continue to practice together, feel grounded, at ease, and expanded. So thank you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.